Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is the Narcissistic Resistance, and this resistance video is sponsored by contribution from Cindy D. And here's her story. Hello, Ollie. I just made a donation and hope it's appropriate. Yes, and thank you very much. In the video, please use my YouTube name, Cindy D, which is my real name. I can stand to what I'm saying. The other names are real too and may be used as stated. My letter is to expose Tansy D, the female malignant narcissist psychopath I birthed and raised. Ollie, before I go into the subject, I want to thank you for your valuable work regarding narcissistic abuse. Your discernment to quickly identify the core matter is a priceless gift, which combined with your insights, wit, and humor have helped me to many realizations since I started my journey of healing 2 years ago. I am the 60-year-old multi-abused daughter of an overt father who trafficked me as a child, and a covert mother whom I defended until I watched one of your videos about 6 months ago and realized my mother not only allowed it, but actively participated. That's what happens once you're no contact and you go back and you reanalyze and you realize, wait a minute, this person who I thought was the abuser there's no way you didn't know about it. And not only did you not know about it, you must have been the one pulling the strings. And when that happens, I mean, that is that is a wake-up call, man. That is cold water to the face. But that's worth another letter. I just want to give some background why it took me so long to open up my eyes to being abused in general and by my own child in specific. This learned disability was instrumentalized by abusers of all kinds. I am grateful for finally being able to free myself from all of the false indoctrinations and get a chance to live the peaceful life I so desire. Tansy, age 44, my age, raised by my covert mother for her first 5 years. All of her life despised me and used guilt and shame to manipulate me. She criticizes and diminishes everything about me and scapegoats me for things she and others have done, i.e. at 17 she got expelled from school for not attending, and from another school in town, wouldn't have taken her. Why she moved to my narcissistic sister to cover her own butt. Tansy came up with the lie that she couldn't live with me any longer because I beat her. The two then concocted all kinds of ways in which to hurt me, including a court case for money, which Tansy lost after the judge asked why she only filed suit against me, despite me supporting her on my own for years, and not against her father, who didn't pay a dime. Tansy never acknowledged that I not only carried my load of responsibility for 2 children, but also the load of their fathers, who didn't participate, personal or financial. Despite the huge messes these 2 men created, Tansy never voiced one bad word about either of them. Attempts to find out the reason for her keeping me on trial were warded off. Tansy flat out refuses to do anything for me or her brother, inflicts damage at every opportunity, spreads horrible lies, sides with everyone stealing from me or betraying me in other ways. And after I'd been diagnosed with heart failure in 2011, several times tried to induce a heart attack by upsetting me and raging. It took a very, very long time before I was able to stop looking at Tansy through the eyes of trying to understand all-enduring mother and accept who she really is. Opening my eyes, the vast amount of stifling evidence can no longer be denied. While trying for decades to somehow have a relationship with her, Tansy got progressively violent, not only to me. Examples: feigning allergies she had her first husband beside his full-time job, do most of the household chores. Okay, I see. Feigning allergies she had her first husband besides his full-time job do most of the household chores while she sat around all day, chatted on Facebook, and convinced him he has mental problems, which he sought psychiatric treatment for. Registered at sex sites, she'd tell him she's visiting me 2.5 hours one way, but actually was somewhere cheating on him. Some of her sex dates she bragged about as vivid admirers. After getting tired of the cats she had for 12 years, Tansy poisoned them. I know the many instances I'm aware of are only the tip of the iceberg. Telling Tansy I will no longer tolerate her aggression against me, repeatedly she answered with an increase of violence. What broke the camel's back? December 2015, in 2 long emails, I disclosed the abuse from Gert, my second husband, how it affected me, and that I needed to get away from him fast, but barely have enough strength to do so. For 8 weeks, I didn't hear from Tansy at all. Then she called, but didn't mention my mails or my situation. No, how are you? No, can I do anything for you? No, do you need help with packing your things? No, stay with us until you find a place of your own. Her sole concern was a brief stopover to con me out of money. Yeah, that's all you are. That's all you are, is an ATM. That's all you are. The narcissist is going to show you what you mean to them at your worst times by not being there. She obviously just wants you dead because she wants your money. After I had transferred €1,000 to her account, she didn't even have the decency to acknowledge receipt of payment. Several weeks after pocketing the money, she again wanted to invite herself. My decline resulted in a 30-minute non-stop rage the next day. She most likely wanted to con me out of more money and got angry because it didn't work. That was it. I had enough of her nasty attitude. I'm not the ATM of a lazy grown-ass woman wanting to play sugar money. And I am not responsible for not financing her boy toy. But that's like what I told you earlier. You are just the ATM for her, and you finally realize that. Per mail, I let her know I don't want to have anything to do with her anymore and why. Her answer was a gaslighting mail full of lies. This was March 2016. I've been no contact since. After I gathered my last bit of strength to leave Gert, I informed her of my new address. Big mistake. Because she only calls when she wants something or needs a punching bag. I didn't give her my new telephone number. Despite knowing my reasons, Uncle Bern then gave it to her anyways, and she promptly called. Again, didn't ask how I was doing or if I needed anything, but chatted as if nothing had happened and invited me for dinner, which I politely declined and reminded her I wish no contact. The call had 2 purposes. A, to let me know she will not be stopped from calling and will do so whenever she pleases. And B, to butter me up to give her more money. Because I blocked all her telephone numbers and I am not on Facebook, etc., she started stalking and harassing me on YouTube. I'm using my real first name, which is a rare one, and write openly. Therefore, am easy to identify. Using hundreds of names, she poses as a victim survivor of abuse, partially telling my life story, what she had done to me and others as if it was done to her, feigning faith, copying texts of mine and others. She's an expert on victimhood and healing techniques, knows narcissists inside out, stating her inner workings, has experienced every situation others are writing about, only much worse, lectures and talks down to victims about what they should and should not do, always heavily emphasizing how empathetic, good, and kind-hearted she is, utilizing we survivors, us empaths, etc., to feign authenticity. All in all, superficial narcissistic fakery, catchphrases, and hot air, zero substance. Wondering about users caught, and I've warned you guys about that. Like, we know in this community these people exist. They're all over the place. They're all over the place. I'm wondering why your mother was raising her the first 5 years. What was the situation there? Wondering about users copying contents of posts I've just written, word for word or slightly altered. I caught on to her act in August and exposed one of her characters on Sunlion's channel, which resulted in a narcissistic rage calling me bitch and all kinds of names. Before then, still hoping that we can somehow reconcile, her violent online behavior made me realize unmistakably how wicked this woman truly is. And I went the last step of disengaging and disinherited her. For a while, I kept exposing her when tripping over her posts, but stopped doing so. Negative attention is attention after all. I'm done with her. If I would persecute someone as hateful as she pursues as hateful as she pursues me, the last thing I would do is replicate them. Who wants to be like someone they openly despise? Her trying to be like me, narrating my life experience, copying my ideas and style writing, are complimenting and validating my specialness, which she's obviously extremely jealous and envious of. Looking back, she's always copied me. When I bought a waterbed, she had to have one too. Her living room has the very same bookshelves. Even her dining room table is similar to mine. I started painting. She too bought colors. I started playing saxophone. She took lessons. She doesn't know how to operate a sewing machine, but subscribes to quilting channels. I bet the quilts I made for her, she claims, as her own work. She didn't copy the car I drove. For 17 years because throwing her money out the window for other things, she couldn't afford a sob. When I posted one of my poems, she too posts a poem. I sloppily translated one to which she added a few words, resulting in horribly chopping rhythm and rhyme. In the same manner, she wrote her own songs. The notes are composed by musicians she knows. The text are patchworks, bits, and pieces of popular songs. Since her music colleagues don't cooperate with her anymore because she failed to disclose their work, she hasn't come up with any new songs and calls it creative pause, which lasts since 2 years. Look, your daughter is a vampire. Your daughter is one of these narcissists that steals from everybody. And gives credit for nothing. But really what your daughter is and what your daughter became, and this really goes back to your mother and your mother raising her, is your daughter treats you as if she's your mother. Because your mother gave her that authority over you. Your daughter truly believes she has more authority over you. She has authority over you. As if your daughter has the mentality as if she is your mother. Absolutely. And you can thank your covert mother for that. After realizing Tansy's intrigue on YouTube, I've laid low, wrote very little, nothing worth copying, ignoring her approaches, baits and snares to end the before unbeknownst supply chain. No longer being able to trick me into contact must have resulted in starvation crisis, and judging by the chain of events, aggravated her psychotic schizophrenia and lost sense of reality. On December 5th, I received the following mail. Hello, Cindy. The year is almost over and it's soon Christmas. Even though society turned out to be a consume circus, it still should be a celebration of love. Fidum and I would like to invite you for a Christmas dinner. It would be nice if you accept our invitation and we could talk in peace. We both don't get younger and don't know how much time remains to make things right and maybe find a way to each other. I didn't respond. There's nothing in need of clarification. Tansy is an extremely violent, disrespectful, lying, evil cunt who has proven over and over again that she's not interested in a healthy relationship with me. Right, you're just money. You're just an ATM. Those are the facts, with the consequence that I don't want to be bothered with her nasty void of basic human characteristics, fake persona ever again. Fidham is her second husband, half her age, could be her son. She needs to dominate like a mother. Do you understand what your mother did to this girl? Destroyed her. Destroyed her. She needs to be a mother over everybody. Her husband, you. Your mother destroyed this girl. Destroyed her. Okay. She brutally discarded her first husband of 20 years by bringing Toy Boy into their home after she ran out of money for hotels, and married him immediately after the divorce was final so he could stay in the country. In my humble opinion, this is legalized incest with a kind of son husband. Right. She realized she really couldn't control husband number one anymore. So she had to get a little boy toy child, that son husband type that she can control. She needs to mother over everybody. A win-win situation for both after 3 years of marriage, which includes the 1 year mandatory separation. He gets a permanent residency permit, and she has a provider, allowing her to continue to live online, and gets laid by a man who could be her son. On December 10, I picked up a call from an unfamiliar number. I've blocked all her numbers, and it terminated after I heard her voice. Immediately thereafter, she tried from another number. 30 minutes later, I received a third call from another unfamiliar number. It was my backstabbing Uncle Bernd, who I went no contact with and blocked his numbers after he gave her mine. Supposedly, he dialed the wrong number. Right. It's always, there's no coincidences, believe me. But how can you be at someone else's phone and erroneously dial the number of someone not wanting to speak with you? Different people, same game, same lame excuses. Another 30 minutes later, anonymous number called. Someone seems to be spiraling. That's what happens when you don't pay attention to them. December 11th, I again received 2 calls from unfamiliar numbers back to back. At the second one, I told her if she doesn't stop terrorizing me, she'll be charged for stalking, to which she replied, oh dear, I do hope you get well soon. That's always amazing. As they're stalking you, they're telling you you're crazy. The narcissist can stalk you and gaslight you and tell you you're crazy at the same time. Ain't that some shit? Ain't that some shit? Whether it's your daughter, number after number after number after number, tells you you're crazy, or my stalkers who sit there and dislike and comment and video after video after video after video and then say I'm crazy. The narcissist will stalk you, then call you crazy. I mean, it don't get any plainer than that. And understand she's not going to stop, because she has been given authority over everyone by your mother. Okay, and she realizes, and it's a lot like what my ex-wife did, because all her friends had to be younger than her. I was younger than my ex-wife, because these are types of women that need to control everybody as a mother figure. I think it falls definitely in the borderline and which is always the most dangerous of the cluster Bs. Note, she's behaving like a severely desperate drug addict, but because I don't comply, I'm the one with mental problems. According to the time of her calls, she's telephoning when hubby is at work, so he doesn't witness her aggressive behavior towards me for him and hubby number one. She plays the saintly martyr, coping with a mentally unstable, totally unfit mother. A few hours later, she sent the following email. Title, a few words coming from the heart. Hello, Cindy. After the last 2 days and attempts to reach you per telephone, I wanted to write a few closing lines. First of all, so at least she admits she's the one stalking you. First of all, I want to let you know we don't have to have contact, but I am greatly concerned and worried about your development. You've withdrawn from all people, me, Burns, Ruth, Peter, and these are the only ones I know of. You think all people want to do you wrong and are treating you bad. I can imagine how you feel because I often feel similar. I have realized, though, that in the past, the problem often was me and not others. I'm working on that. It's not good to isolate. That's exactly what you always blamed Werner's parents of, that they live in their own little world and get no impulses from the outside. But you're now doing the same thing. I surely never wanted to harm you, and I cannot imagine that Peter and Ruth, from whom you are also distance yourself, ever wanted to do you any harm. As I'm saying, I believe I can understand how you're feeling. This is not being treated right and constantly having the impression everybody wants to harm you or treat you bad. And of course, there are idiots who don't have your best interest in mind, but in most cases, it's our own perception that we feel like this because we have have issues with ourselves that we need to work on. She's talking about herself, by the way, here. Okay? She's talking all about herself and then projecting it onto you. In feigned concern. It's faux concern. It isn't real. Throwing up names of all these people. It's bullshit. Okay? It's bullshit. This is stalker behavior. I don't expect that you'll talk with me about this. In our situation, I'm certainly not the proper one to address this, and I don't expect that you'll seek contact with me. But I'm interested in your well-being. Be careful because she's going to try to get her hands on your money, have you committed, and try to get your hands on money. And I'm under the impression that you're not doing well since a very long time. And with that, I don't mean your cardiac disease. I want you to be happy and without these permanent negative thoughts. And I know from my own experience, this is only possible with professional help. Maybe you take my words to heart and think about them. Further, I want to apologize if in any way I hurt you or gave you the feeling that you're not important to me. She's talking to you like she is your mother. This is sick. This girl is sick in the head. She's dangerously sick in the head. I am very sorry about that, and it surely wasn't my intention. I know I'm often not easy, don't always find the right words, and I'm occupied with myself most of the time. Sorry I've forsaken you. Something else weighs on my heart, and I'm not interested in your money. Bullshit. I don't want money from you now and don't want to get an inheritance from you. You may give everything to Alexander. I hope that you now don't have to worry about this anymore. Merry Christmas and all good tidings for the next year. Sincerely, Tansy. Bullshit. Bullshit. That is exactly what she's after. My analysis. Rigid to the core, Tansy's using the same BS tactics as always. Spiraling faster with every failed attempt. Everyone I'm telling the recent developments is appalled to the extent of Tansy's deprivation. She writes it's okay if we don't have contact, but contradicts her words by compulsively trying to force contact with fake YouTube characters, telephone terror, and brain fuckery mails. Supposedly she's concerned about my well-being, but where was she when I was at my lowest trying to get out of an abusive marriage? All she cared about was being able to continue her charade as sugar mommy since I've stopped giving her all her money. Since I've stopped giving her money. It's mighty tight, and some of her YouTube characters are whining about her evil mother not supporting her starving child, but rather brags with her Mercedes 180. And brags with her Mercedes 180, successor of my longtime companion and much missed sob. Being a medical assistant and aware of my cardiac risk factors, couldn't she be expected to refrain from causing me stress and agitation? Everyone I tell how she behaves towards me responds with indignation and disgust. Why she is contacting Peter and Ruth, whom she has no relationships at all. Peter and Ruth are the only one of my contacts of whom she knows more than a first name and can look up their telephone numbers. She didn't count on me ending my silence. After I left, Gert and I informed everyone about what happened, including Tansy's refusal to help when I was at my lowest, so people around me know what to make of her attempted smear campaigns. Tansy's claim I have withdrawn from Peter and Ruth testify for her general disrespect of boundaries and relationships. Both are lecturers at the naturopath college I attended and maintain private practices. We value each other, but teaching me and treating my ailments does not make them my mommy and daddy. There's no need to maintain rapport. Being medical practitioners, they would never give her any information about me anyhow. Despite working in the medical field for many years, Tansy obviously isn't familiar with patient data protection laws, or she expected her ability of lying and feigning concern to blindside them into disregarding their occupational restrictions. Well, when you walk around with the mentality that you're everyone's mother, okay, you think you're the mother, you just get things. You don't understand there's rules. I mean, that's what it is, and that's where her spiraling comes from when she doesn't get what she wants. And again, you can thank your mother for that, for them first 5 years. Tansy's projecting her paranoia. That everyone is after her, and her negativity is about everyone. I never felt haunted by anyone, and on the contrary, being too trusting and giving everyone the benefit of the doubt has gotten me into one abusive situation after another. Only recently I accepted that in some people you can search for all the good you want to. It's simply not there. Tansy knows nothing about my life, but insinuates I am drifting into a psychosis and I am isolating myself. Again, she's mistaking me with herself. She's the one who can't make it on her own and has replaced one provider with the next. I, on the contrary, was able to make it on my own before the 14 years of abuse from Gert and am able to do so again now. The only people I withdrew from are the abusers like Tansy, ex-husband Gert, backstabbing Uncle Bern, fake Yushi sandbox friend of 55 years. Everyone else in my circle is on my side and understands why I'm reclusive catharsis in sort of my life and heal. Lastly, if Tansy wasn't concerned with my money and being disinherited, then why even mention it? Exactly. I don't need her condescending approval for decisions on my life savings, like she's your mother. You see what happened? I had lived in a parasitic lifestyle like her, not worked half the time and spent twice as much as was coming in. I'd have as much as she does. Zilch, zero, nada. It's long overdue that I enjoy the fruit of my labor and let unappreciative, greedy gluttons feed their own achievements. If Tansy wants more than she has, she's welcome to follow my example, roll up her sleeves and work the life she wants. As long as she doesn't make changes, everything stays as it is, and I may assume she's living the life she wants. She totally is. She's not going to get up and work at 44. Which reminds me of a major eye-opener. After Tansy discarded her first husband and wasn't sure of who'll keep the apartment, she called me and demanded if I move to another apartment, I'll need your money. Tansy didn't ask if I could help her with a few thousands. No, she felt entitled to all of my money. Mind you, I'm not rich. What I have is hard-earned as a working full-time single mother of 2 children without child support and against obstacles put in my way by family. She threw her money out the window because I'm used to living frugal anyways. Tansy felt entitled to throw mine out the window too. She knew all the time that I intend to leave Gert and obviously didn't give a damn if after giving her my money I'd still be able to leave, finance a move, and purchase things I'll need, furniture and appliances. All she cared about was her not having to cut back and be inconvenienced. She would have treated herself with my money and left me stuck in an abusive relationship. And if I somehow had managed to get away, I'd be sleeping on the floor and sit back on banana crates. This absolute ruthlessness lifted the veil of denial about what a vile snake I have nursed on my breast. And after one after the other, her evil deeds started to unfold like falling dominoes. Projection, blaming, shaming, guilting, false accusations, insinuating, talking down to me, knowing better than I do, perpetrator-victim role reversal, smear campaigning, garnished, the whole bunch of lies, all in a simple male disguised as well intent. Her sense of reality must be severely corrupted. She seems to confuse me with the foreign people who don't know who they're being lied to. Obviously, Tansy's own mental capacities don't allow her to comprehend that to be generous and patient was my choice and not caused by stupidity. The emphasis on mental instability since a long time spreading a concern about pathological behaviors, which in reality projections suggesting professional help, etc., look like she's planning to have me declared insane. I told you that. Yes, that's what she's planning because she's a narcissistic, evil little bitch. That's why she can stalk you and then call you crazy. If she could somehow prove that when I disinherited her, I was not of sound mind, my last will would be obsolete. Exactly. Then 1 or 2 violent rages would do the job of putting me in an early grave and solve her laziness-induced chronic money problem, or an assault, having you arrested, trying to spark a fight, any of that. I have enough documentation to expose her schemes and lies and gave copies to several people, just in case something happens to me. Tansy's actions speak for themselves, i.e. work biography, trolling the internet 24/7, pathological lying, written claims, and factual actions. Chronic money problems despite my cardiac problems, aggressing against me over and over again. Telephone terror and online rages are documented in protocols with date and time, which in my case constitute attempted manslaughter. Because she knowingly is risking my life and her chronic money shortage indicates premeditation, which is a trait of murder. Like all abusers, it seems to be the conviction that nobody's aware of what she's doing, but within the trial she left behind, there's enough evidence to put her behind bars for a while. If that's what she wants, so be it. She's long squandered her child bonus and will be in for a very, very rude awakening. Ollie, I pretty much see what's going on, but your opinion is greatly appreciated. Thank you. Sincerely, Cindy R. Davis. Well, you have it right. I mean, look, what you need to realize, Cindy, is your mother, okay, made this girl into your mother. So your daughter walks around thinking she's everybody's mother and has that type of motherly entitlement. Okay, and I told you early on, I saw it early on, when they feign that concern and you're not, and they're saying things, well, you're not calling, they're setting it all up to have you deemed incompetent. That's what she's doing. Because even though she said it's not about the money, it's always about the money. Okay? So, thank you so much for your contribution and your story. I hope this helps. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, a narcissist you'd like to expose, you'd like to set up Skype, a phone call, have a private video made, or a Facebook live chat, or you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it succeeding, growing, and expanding, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you. Without you guys, this all goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with the PayPal and email links in the description box. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been the Narcissistic Resistance.